Good evening, everyone. Call to order the March 10th Monday committee meeting of Beauregard Parish School Board. Let's see. I have Miss Anthea Fontenot. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
That will be delivering our pledge and prayer.
In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Dear Lord, we come to you today asking for your guidance and wisdom. We would like to thank you for all the blessings you have given us. Thank you for the successful outcomes of our school events and for all our staff members. We ask that you help us engage in meaningful discussion that allows us to grow closer as a group and nurtures our community. Fill us with grace, Lord, as we make wise decisions for the betterment of all Beauregard Parish stakeholders. Continue to remind us that all we do here today is for the pursuit of truth, the greater glory of you, and for the improvement of our schools. We ask these things in your name. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, ma'am. All right. Item 1, to consider adoption of the committee agendas. Has everybody seen their agenda? Any discussion? All those in favor? Oh, a motion, please.
Make it second.
Jared, seconded by Mr. Redler. All those in favor?
Aye.
Item number 2, to receive committee assignments. Committee assignments are as follows. Building and Grounds Chair is Mr. Brian Redler with Jared Thibodeau, Kristen Neely, Garrett Green, and Carlos Arshield. Policy Chair, David Shirley, Ray Bowman, Garrett Green, Cynthia Lafitte, and Brian Redler. Insurance Chair, Jared Thibodeau, Carlos Arshield, Ray Bowman, Cynthia Lafitte, and Brian Redler. Long Range Planning Chair is Christy Neely with all board members. Finance, of course, is VP Mr. Scott Sanderford with all board members. For calendar, 4-day rep is Christy Neely, and hybrid is David Shirley with all board members. And dress code and discipline was Ray Bowman. All right. And I will turn over the meeting to the Finance Committee.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to call Finance Committee to order. Committee members are myself, chairperson, and all board members. Item 1 is to consider approval of the minutes of the February 10th, 2025 Finance Committee meeting as written. Everybody should have had those. Any questions, discussions? Have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Ms. Weldon, second. Mr. Shirley, seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. Item number 2 is to receive financial reports for the prior month.
Hey, everybody. All right, I got sales tax information today, so let me hand that out to you all very quickly. Actually, can I hand them to you and you pass them that way, and then I'll hand this one to you, Ms. Lafitte, and you want to pass it out that way? That'll make it go over.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll just start with sales tax once I see you all have them. 166 and 190.
Oh, that's what I was thinking you meant.
You're crossing.
I'm sorry.
Nope, you're good.
That's what I gave you.
So these won't be online when you're viewing, Cody, because I just got this information today. All right, so our collections for 90, we'll start at 90 first. Our collections for the 1990 sales tax fund, there was a 2.38% increase on those funds. from the 870,000 to $890,861. Our expenditures stayed right around the same as where they were from last year. On your 1966 sales tax fund, there was a decrease of 20.48%. We were at 882,642 last year. This time, we are at 701,915. Normally, Ray or Garrett will catch the difference. So there is that difference on there where one is a decrease of 20.48 and the other one was only 2.38. They were recently audited, and there were some funds that still needed to be distributed, as with that amount that goes out. So those funds that were distributed ended up coming in on the 90 side. So that's why there was the increase on that side. There was more funds received on the 90 side than the 66, because that was where they found those funds to be distributed. As far as parish-wide debt, I know that normally we're saying there's no change to that, but there is, because we just had our first payment for bond. We did our our principal and interest payment for both bonds that we currently have out right now. And nothing in general fund or AV had me concerned. You can review that. If you had any questions, you can let me know. There is going to be a training I'm sitting in this week for Medicaid, as with the possibility of all admin change up at the federal level. There could be the possibility of changes as far as our Medicaid funding, which could affect our nursing budget. I'll keep you all in the loop as the more information I get on that. Did you have any questions regarding the financial documents?
Everybody good? No questions?
Okay. Thursday evening, you are all going to be voting on the revision that I presented last month as it sat for the mandatory 15 days. Do you have any questions regarding the revision that was handed last month? Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everybody.
Thank you. All right, moving on to item 3, to consider accepting a request for proposals to add Carver as an additional site for wide area network and internet services for the remainder of the current agreement.
Okay, the paper I gave you earlier. Oh. I gave you the wrong one. Focus on the wrong one.
Good scratch.
Sorry about that.
Thank you, ma'am.
We had to do an RFP for wide area network to add Carver as a site for next year, because there will be students there. It currently isn't in our agreement. We had 14 sites. The schools, including Title I and here, Carver was not included because we didn't have students there this year. So we went out for an RFP, came back. If you look at this, the $12.99 is the addition of one site. That's the same price as we pay on our current agreement for Conterra. The 20% that we are paying for E-rate turns out to be $259.80 a month. That would be additional to what we currently pay. We had 3 bids come in, requests for proposals. One was the Conterra, EM3, and Citranet. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. I'm not quite sure. You see at the bottom, there's your scoring on the RFP. So after all of that, I'm recommending that we award the RFP to Conterra to add to the Carver location to our current agreement. Any questions? That's a roundabout answer or question, explanation. Sorry.
I have a question.
So, you know, it's just looking at your calculations. It says that we currently pay $4,600 per month. The new total with the additional location would only increase the total by 200 and some odd dollars.
$259.80.
So, do we not have to pay for the additional 12?
E-rate is, it's because it's E-rate, the $12.99 is the 100% price. Because we fall under that,
Federal government.
federal
provides.
funds
That's
take the
right.
80 and we
That's
pay the
right.
20%.
That's right.
So the 20% is the $259, which is,
We're hoping that doesn't go away too, which is
Yes.
a possibility
Yeah.
How soon?
this summer. There's a lot of question marks on federal programs. There are some that I would agree with that need to go away. There are some that are very beneficial. Considering that our monthly at 20% is $4,900, go ahead and add 80% to that and multiply that times 12. And so our costs will go up significantly. This is the same, even though we're not in that vein yet, just something to think about. The last 2 years we've been at free lunches for all. Is possibility that we will transition, possibility, into the old free and reduced applications with students not qualifying paying full price. So those are things that are very concerning to us as especially poor districts, Title I, Title II, Title III, Title IV, all of those, which put significant amount of money into the educational process. We have been told by trusted sources that they're not going to be touched, but there is no guarantee other than just trust us. So just wanted everyone to know that that's in the realm of education. That is the current conversations.
anything else?
Any other questions, discussions? Do I hear a motion to accept the RFP for Conterra Ultra Broadband LAC?
So move.
Mr. Green? Mr. Redler seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Item 4 is to discuss development of a capital improvement plan for the upcoming bond proposition.
Okay, on end of last week, I sent 3, and I put in my email the skeletal basic plans to get the brain process moving. To let you know what information I had received from community members, school officials, teachers, so on and so forth. Plan A, Plan B, and Plan C. The very first one was to use the entire bond for a new facility at South Boulevard High School. Plan 2, lessen that money and added some additional locations. And Plan 3 saw a lessening of that money at South and some additional locations. To be honest, ladies and gentlemen, I did put in that email that I would like to have a special meeting as we have done for bond 2023 and 2019 so that we can devote our full attention to having a agreed upon budget. Tonight, we could go into it and we could add this to the calendar and be here a long, long time. But I really think that you haven't had enough time as individuals to take that base, talk to your communities. I know last time y'all were able to get out and have some input into it. I have input, but that's me. And, you know, I can say Maryville High School, we have flooding issues in the old high school area. I'd like to address that with this, you know, I could say senior high school, some of our bathrooms are from the 70s. You know, I want, in the elementary side, I want to see this. So I could go to each location knowing what I've been given and seen. So I am suggesting either Monday, March 24th or Tuesday, March 25th at 5:30 p.m., either one of those days. If you can check your calendars, if those don't work, I think the only one, you said Ms. Pam was the 20th? Was the 20th. That she and I would both be unavailable.
I'm down for the 24th.
24th Monday? Is 5:30, would that be too hard, or do you want to go 6? It's fine, either way, I know some of us are traveling.
I can make 5:30 on
I
the
can too.
24th work.
Anybody else have an issue with that? 5:30?
Mhm. I knew 5 o'clock was a hard one, but I just want to give us ample time to sit and discuss and for you to work. And if you shoot me ideas and thoughts that you have, I can add those into those templates I have and continue to go. But I really would ask that we all, like, that you would talk to your South Beauregard representatives and your South Beauregard officials. I'm not saying this to advocate for any one way, but data is data. That's where the growth is happening, is continue to grow. And we keep adding on at the elementary, but we haven't done anything to the upper and to the high school. And so at some point, something's got to be done. And so that's why that was precedent in that, or first, for only reason, just wanted you to know that. So Monday, March 24th, we will hold a special meeting at 5:30 PM to discuss our capital improvement plan, which needs to be done and voted on in the April board meeting so that we can get our brochures and our information out to our people.
Mr. Holly, would it be possible, maybe for that meeting, if we could have some information on, like, Mid-South, like some student counts, some
Absolutely.
trends, some,
Those are-
you know,
those are
like
totally-
empty classrooms, et cetera, et cetera?
And one of the things that, as we had this opportunity to pursue a new bond, I think that we're going to see this. I would have liked to had an October election as opposed to May, just to have seen what this first quarter is going to do to the, to inflation and to the housing market. I live in a particular area of that community where there is 2 subdivisions north and south of me. And just in the last 2 months, 2 new houses have been built and 3 sale signs have gone back up. And so I can just see that on my daily trip out that there's that push. Now, I'm not saying that's not happening in DeRidder or Maryville or East.
It ain't happening in Maryville. I can assure you that.
Two years ago, South Beauregard Elementary grew 100 students in 1 year, which you say, that's not a lot. But it is whenever it was built for, that's why we're adding a 4-pod classroom there. We keep adding there because traditionally, we lose students when they go to the upper, and then they show back up in the high school. Last year, our school year 23-24 was the first year that upper students did not decrease, that those numbers showed through. So they have traditionally had 136 to 143. This third grade class rolling out now is 155, and the ones behind them are not any smaller. So we put that into, and yes, I can provide that information, but I'm sorry, I'm going
No,
on
it's
there.
It's okay,
important.
it's okay.
Yeah, it's very important, because we're going to have to present this to the public. And
Well, that's-
they're going to ultimately vote on it. So we're going to put forward a bond proposal that's going to be very meaningful to some areas and maybe not to some others. So having those numbers, having that identification to where we can say, this is why it's needed, this is why it's important, is going to be viable information.
Yes, sir.
Are you aware of how many new LNG plants or chemical plants are coming into Lake Charles? Have you heard that? I've heard that there was a couple.
There is one, an LNG, a liquid nitrogen gas plant, that my Calcasieu contemporaries have told me about. And what we have seen, and just in our recent discussion, because I tell you, I do share a chat group with the 5 area superintendents, is as those industries are moving into the Lake Charles area, the residents are moving further and further out. And where Moss Bluff has not seen an increase in population or decrease, we have. So, you know, that 30-minute drive is not a difficult drive at 70 miles an hour. So that has influenced a lot of movement with the south area. But I can get some solid numbers before we meet again.
Yeah, I think, I've heard that there was more than one. That would just be a significant increase that we'd see over the next 3 years.
I did talk with the chamber a couple of months ago. There is a local restaurant that has relocated closer to the hardware and the outdoor facility. There is another restaurant taking over their previous facilities, and there is paperwork that has been submitted for a grocery store to be added to the south area as well. Not saying that means here or there, but those are, you don't put those things there if the population cannot support it.
When we did the remapping for the census, when you looked at 2 areas that Jared and I covered, it was 20% growth from 2010 to 2012. Pretty significant.
So we'll need set that date. Do we need a vote on that? Since it's nope, just a discussion. So March 24th at 5:30?
Set.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, and that will adjourn the Finance Committee.
Call to order the Building and Ground Committee meeting for Monday, March 10th, 2025. Committee members include myself, Chair, Jared Thibodeau, Christy Neely, Cynthia Lafitte, and Carlos R. Shield. Item number 1, to consider approval of the minutes of the February 10th, 2025 Building and Ground Committee meeting as written. You should all have that. Any discussion?
I don't think I'm on this committee.
Oh,
She is listed.
I'm sorry, I didn't even see that.
She is listed though.
It's Jared
Okay.
and so.
I do apologize. I was
But
reading.
I'm not real good at building.
No, that,
I'm good at bugging Mr. Green though.
that's on me. I did not double check.
I do apologize,
do.
Mr. Green.
No problem.
You should have the minutes. Any discussion? This time I'll take a motion to approve. Mr. Thibodeau, second. Mr. Arshiel, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Item number 2, to receive a maintenance update.
Good evening. February work orders, we had 113 new work orders, and we closed out 162. So the work orders were a little bit up this last month, but we closed about the same as we did in January. The AC work orders for the month was 27. Some of those, again, we were able to handle ourselves, but that's down 13 from January with the heating and the air conditions, so that's a good thing. I was excited today because I thought I was going to pull 27 portables across the parish. We did pull 17 of them. We ended up leaving the ones at Maryville there because we found out that the boiler is connected to the AC system, and it will have a lot to do as to whether or not the court area has the right humidity. Without the boiler, for some reason, it affects the air conditioning, so it can't dehumidify like it's supposed to. So we left those in there for right now, waiting to hear on the boiler, and hoping that will, because of the danger of the floor getting damaged if it got humid, that it will push the insurance a little quicker. I called him today about that, haven't heard back from him. AC bonds, we're down to the punch list. There's 2 units that are not working, one at east and the rooftop at south, waiting on parts. But there is a lot of punch list items on it. There's 6 pages of punch list items, most of which are disconnects and thermostats that were supposed to be put in new that were not, so they have an option of giving us a credit for that because the other ones are working, or coming back in and fixing it like it's supposed to be to start with. I will say that C.D. Morgan did a great job with their specs, and they've come in and really checked things over really well, the engineers, and they're holding their feet to the fire before they will allow us to pay them a check. They've been trying to get a check for over a month, and that has to go through C.D. Morgan for us to be able to do it. And had several calls about it today. I think they're working through it, but some of these punch list items have to be removed first. The LED project for the football stadiums, the engineer said that he felt like that would be possibly ready at the end of the month to come before y'all, I think, the next meeting. And so we would hopefully be able to see that come to fruition in April before school's out. The bid would be finished It's going to be a short bid, I think 2 weeks, because it'll be a controlled group. And so we feel like that's going to go through pretty fast. Someone had said that they wanted the list by schools. I hadn't done it this way before, but we'll go ahead and try it and see how it goes. At BAP, there's really nothing going on new there at all, mainly because it's in pretty decent shape and they're going to be moving to Carver. Carver, or the new future BAP, my guys have painted all the halls that they're going to use in the classrooms, all the different classrooms like they wanted them. And we're in the process of waiting on the floor plans to make an office. They won't use the office that Carver used to have. They'll have an office just like what they had at BAP right there in the middle of their 2 halls that they're going to have. And so we're going to tweak one of the classrooms and make 3 offices out of it. We think it'll be a good layout, and our guys they had the floor plan. We're just waiting for it to approve, and it'll save us a lot of money for us doing it ourselves. DeRitter Elementary doesn't have a whole lot because it's brand new, but we are starting the landscaping there. The ryegrass is good enough to put our cows on, Garrett, so it's time to cut it. We're working on that, and we do have a PE cover for them they don't have any shade or cover outside, so we have that in the process. My guys are going to build that one, but we're waiting till the ground's more firm before we, put tractors and everything else on it. We want the grass to be stable. Yes, sir.
I did notice a little bit of erosion there where the discharge is, or the contractor gonna?
I talked to them, they said that was Reddit's responsibility, we walked through it the other day with them.
They're gonna build they're gonna put a,
I think you're talking about on the 6th Street side.
Yes, sir.
On the inside of the pond is washing in that curve.
Yeah.
So they're gonna go back and pour a concrete drain, because that water, they've got banked on the northwest high, so the water comes back off that, it's coming by the gym and down, so it's cutting there, so they're gonna pour a concrete trough there to bring it into that ditch. But the 2 on Texas Street, they've looked at those as well, and that's their responsibility.
Thank you.
There's one place where that last time when we had that real, not this past one, but the one before that, it actually came through there so fast it took a couple of pieces of sod and just washed it out into the street. So, also in regard to DeRitter Elementary, not this Thursday, but the next one on the 20th, Miss Shirley's going to host our elementary fitness meet. So that starts at 9 o'clock. If any of you want to come and see how that goes, you're welcome to come. The high school, we're in the planning stages still for the ag shop, CTE planning classroom, and the auditorium. We did put new softball lights in this past week at DeRitter High. They had some bulbs out, and we just replaced them all just to try to enhance the lights. They don't have LEDs. We did the same thing at Singer. Yes, sir.
Do they have a little flood problem over there?
If they did, I didn't hear about it. But I wouldn't doubt it with all the rains that we had, especially the last rain before this one. But nobody said anything to me about it. DeRitter Junior High, the bathroom project is little to no improvement. They just haven't, I don't know, Mr. Hott, they understand the urgency that we want them to work with, but they're just not showing up. But, they've gotten some things done, but it's not moving near as fast as what we anticipated and what the administrators are anticipating.
And that's a contractor, or is that our?
That's contract.
What contractors are we?
Maybe time to
The
cut bait.
Provost or
Provost. That's Chris Provost is the superintendent on the job.
Gunner?
It's one we haven't dealt with before. It's
That's
Gunter.
not who's doing Maryville and Southeast project, is it?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. And I did speak with the architect, that Ravel Reed. I would give my opinion on the situation based on my 2 years of experience. Where there's more money, there's more work. And because this project was under 500,000, it didn't really require us to have an architect, except for the fact that it involved ADA with bathrooms and sizes, so you had to have an architect. So we're paying a facilitator fee to the architect to design and make sure we're up to code, but we're paying the contractor to do the work. Because it is a lower paying job, I see them filling in on work days when they get rained out elsewhere. And I brought that to the architect's attention last week because those are inside jobs. And he CC'd me in a letter, which I got a response from the job superintendent today, that he would increase the pressure put on them. So,
Were they subcontracted through the architect or
no, sir, we have, Boulevard has a direct contract with them.
with them? Okay.
Mhm. Now, I still don't pay them until the architect gives me the okay to pay them. And so we have withheld some payment, but I'm learning legally what pressures I can put and what I can do. And I just, unfortunately, if this was an $8 million project, it wouldn't be a problem. If it was $1 million, it wouldn't be a problem. But because it's somebody's, that's strictly my opinion. But we're doing what we can do to get it done.
Junior high, the lighting in the parking lots and hallways is really good. I got to go by there the other evening, and it's really lit up well. East Beauregard Elementary, not really anything new going on there right now. East Beauregard High School, the baseball softball project is, we're hoping that they'll have the final punch list this Wednesday. There's a couple of things they're waiting on, but everything, they've already used everything. They have a game tonight, and they're planning on using the concession. We tried to get the ice machine in today. I don't know if we were able to or not. That was on our guys. So it looks really good. The parking area is fantastic. We do have the ticket booths where we have approved for them to, it's not really handicap accessible like it needs to be, and so they're working on that. We're going to put rock up one side and have a walkway around to the other side, so it should be pretty good once they get that finished. But we have a walkthrough Wednesday, and so I'll know exactly where we're at then, but it's almost, both of those are almost done. The front office, we're going to add a new door to the center of the front office at the high school so that when you go in, you're contained there. Well, after school starts, they'll lock the front doors, and so everything will be funneled into the office, and then from there, they have access to the hallway. It'll be a buzz in there. For those that have been to the East Elementary, it'll basically be the same setup. Just for security purposes, it'll really tighten it up for us. K.R. Hanchy.
Coach, you're talking about going from basically the corner where the elevator is to making the wall from the elevator to the office?
All we're doing, front office has EBHS with the Trojan in the middle. It's all windows. That middle window is going to be removed and a door put there. You'll open that door, walk into the office, and then from there you'll be buzzed into the hall or buzzed into the main office. Okay? That way, there's no traffic in the halls. You can't just walk in the hall and have access to the whole school, because if you did that, the way East is set up, you would actually have access to the whole school, including the elementary, because there's only one door separating them. They have common facilities of auditorium, nurses station, and the cafeteria. So this way it would make both sides completely secure. Let's see. Maryville, baseball, softball, is in about the same stage as East Beauregard, except for the baseball field hasn't got electricity yet. Beauregard Electric has been notified. They've come out and measured. They just haven't done their connection and flipped the switch for us. But both fields are looking good. We were able to put that concrete addition over at the baseball field.
Where the gap was.
Yes.
I think it just got left off. I mean,
It's-
it's just like,
It's been,
overlooked.
well, we
Yeah.
added it, and it's, after that last rain, before, when it rained so much, it wasn't really that bad back there at all, so.
No, they sent me a picture of it, and they were so thankful, because it had water, when you saw how much water was in it.
I've been there when it was raining, so,
Yeah.
yes. Let's see, I already talked about the boiler AC thing.
When is the, when are they do their final punch list, MHS?
Hopefully Wednesday.
So they need
Well,
their final punch
The,
list.
what, they won't get to the baseball final punch list. I think softball will be punched out. I hope it will,
Wednesday?
Wednesday.
And you have a current punch list from them now?
I don't have one on me now.
I mean, no, but you have one in your hand somewhere. You
Yeah,
have that
the
turned in.
engineer keeps that up pretty good.
Mr. Green?
Yes, sir.
Forgive me for missing it. Where were we at on the boiler? Was it covered by insurance or?
I have not heard from Butler and the company itself. I heard from Gallo and from the Sedgwick, which is the adjuster, that everything looked good and should be passed through. It's starting to make me nervous that I haven't heard from Butler. You know, I did call him again today to check on it, but I have not heard. So hopefully he'll call. I don't know anybody else over there to call, Coach.
Just Butler and the other guy, but can't think of his name. I got a contact for
Okay.
him.
So hopefully, you know, I want to try email too. Pinewood, same as the junior high with the bathrooms. They're almost the exact same stage, not a lot of movement there. And they haven't started on the inside with the faculty men's restroom that we're trying to upgrade to make it ADA for handicap. But that's going to have to happen because we're going to have a student there next year from the elementary that will have to use that facility, have to have the privacy, or else we'd have to build a whole nother room. So that'll happen. South Beauregard Elementary, we should start landscaping there. We already did a little trim up, but the grass has been growing pretty good. So all three of the south schools, they'll get a landscaping mowing this week. Also the pre-bid for South Beauregard Elementary library, bathroom, and the new classroom addition is 10:30 on Wednesday. 10:30 Wednesday is the pre-bid, where they're going to walk the contractors through everything. That'll be at SBE. South Beauregard Upper, nothing really new there, but landscaping. South Beauregard High School, we have the stadium project. They do have the drill stems in for the press box in the stadium. Those have been drilled, and the first pouring of the concrete is complete. They have another one to pour, and then you have the block on the outside to stabilize it. That will be hopefully this week. The bathrooms are over halfway blocked up, cinder block. So they're moving pretty good considering what weather they've had. The roofing is complete. We've had a couple of times we've had to call them. That's at the junior high, the auditorium, home ec, and old gym, or junior high gym. We called them a couple of times, and the company's been really good about getting here. You know, if I call them like today, they'll get here sometime this week and work on finding the leak and repairing it.
Is that the new roof that the new?
Yes, ma'am. On all those buildings I just mentioned.
on the new
And after this last weekend with the rain, I checked on it today, and it's leak-free thus far on all those buildings. So that's a blessing. The Ag CT is in the planning stage. Auditorium's planning stage. Singer High School, the softball field is updated with lights. Softball, baseball, we have some upgrades with the little buildings we're trying to get in place. The bathrooms, the parking lot are in the planning stage still, but the bathroom stage is looking really good. It's advancing pretty fast. Parking lot, we're going to have to find the way we want to do it. There's one person that has a little landlocked there, and we're going to have to get, either buy that or get permission from them to cross that, right, Mr. Thomas?
Do you know them personally?
I do not, no.
Because I've tried to make some contact, just cursory, and I haven't been able to.
All right,
But
I'll do
something
what I
we
can.
work on.
Yep,
It's not a big piece.
No.
Probably much bigger than this room.
small.
But if push come to shove, we might could, there's some land on the other side of the road, and maybe just swap them. It's the same size. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll do what I can to get in contact with them and talk with them.
That's the only thing. We had it surveyed, and that's the only thing that's really holding that part of the project
And
up.
for some of the proposal for the new work, it's gonna impede onto his land for sure?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay,
You know, where it comes out and then it turns to go and it meets,
yes,
that's why it turns and meets.
because it
Yes.
goes to his property.
If
Okay.
it would go straight like we want it, it would have to go through part of that property.
Okay.
The cafeteria is progressing, but a lot slower than what we would like to see. I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Holly, but I think it was supposed to be complete at the end of March. Is that
Yeah, we
right?
got hung up for about 3 weeks on an air conditioner, and before we couldn't move forward on the rest of the interior. We were able to put up sheetrock paint, but until we could condition the building, there were some things we could not do. That has been rectified 2-3 weekends ago, and we're back on track. We're about, I would say according to the schedule I was given last week, we're about 3 days off. We will have it before we move into May, which was always our goal, is to have it because we need it for the summer feeding programs. But I was able to talk to John Quarles last week, and he reassured me we were looking good. So we're hoping with some, we're all inside now, so weather's not an issue, that we'll be able to make up some ground and get it in April, early.
And that's all I have unless you have some questions.
One question, and Mr. Holly, you may come into play here helping if you have any contacts at the police jury. So there's a parish road that comes from 110?
Mr. Cooley came and saw me last Friday,
Okay,
and he left my office to talk to Mr. Green, who were, make sure our cooperative endeavor agreement was still in place, because they did some work for us on a turnaround.
all right,
And he came, got all the information, and was going to follow up with me this week.
fantastic.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but I knew
No,
exactly what you were
fantastic,
talking
that's
about.
good.
What schools got, what football stadiums got new LED upgrades? Which schools?
All football schools.
All-
In the bond, Miss
Football.
Neely, it's for all football, DES, SBH, not SBH, DES, MHS, and DHS.
I thought so. I
Yep.
just-
And what we were hoping with that leftover money, because I believe we will come in under what the budget is, I've asked the architects to include East and Maryville and Singer for LED possibilities to bring their lights on.
Softball and baseball.
Mhm.
is that what you're
Yeah.
talking
Yes,
about?
ma'am.
Because I knew when you were mentioning the lights at the other schools, we've got some poles that are leaning, like on it's fine. We're happy because we got a new facility, but I was just wondering who that was.
Yeah, we will have to replace one of the main poles at Maryville on the football, on the concession side right there. So that'll be in that.
That
bid.
month.
Yeah.
One other question.
Yes, sir.
Were we able to do anything, did CLECO reach out about the cost share program? Did we make anything on that, or was that just not a possibility?
No,
on
they
the
were
LED?
at Maryville. They needed some information on our air conditioner units for train. And I'm trying to think back to the email that I received on that, but there is some back and forth going on with the Energy Green. It's a tax saving from them. Yeah, I think, did you get something, Ms. Carpenter, from Train you sent to me?
Like a while ago on something on that, but there wasn't for the tax savings, but it had, I don't know if it was the air conditioners.
I'll follow up, but there's something in my email.
I think if they're over 14 Sears that, all the new ones that we put in are over 14 Sears.
I think there's two parts to the program. there's the HVAC side, and there's also an LED lighting side.
Mhm.
And that was,
They came and talked to Mr. Ensminger that day because I was out of the office.
so we haven't had any,
That was the lights. But I haven't heard back from them since that day.
We got all the lights done.
so we were able to partner with them on the cost share.
We already had completed it previously on the LED outside. That's what I kept taking, I'd take them in one location, and they're like, well, there's LED there.
Might be able to help with that
Okay.
after the meeting.
That'd be great. Any other questions for me?
Thank you, Mr. Green.
Thank you, sir.
And that concludes building and grounds. We'll turn it over to policy.
Call a policy committee meeting together. This is myself, Ray Bowman, Garrett Green, Cynthia Lafitte, and Brian Redler. First thing to consider, the approval of the minutes of January 6, 2025 Policy Committee meeting as written. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Ms. Lafitte makes a motion, Mr. Redler seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right. Second is to consider revision of policy file DIC, inventories, and waive the waiting period.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, members. This is a change to an existing policy called inventories, labeled DIC. It's based on the request of the Finance Department, and they are making this request based on the findings of the most recent audit by the Louisiana Legislative Auditor's Office. It includes a new section called Capitalization of Assets. The first three paragraphs state the reason for this inclusion of this new entry into the policy. There are also two subheadings, areas of capitalization threshold and group purchase rule, that detail how assets will be categorized when combined purchases exceed $150,000. The last section cites specific examples of group capitalizations, such as either office furniture set, computer lab setup, or classroom equipment.
Any questions? No? Can we get a motion?
Make a motion that we revise the policy file DIC as presented.
All right. Mr. Green with the motion, can you get a second?
Ms. Lafitte, second.
Ms. Lafitte? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes. All right. Third thing to consider, revision of policy file JCDAE, electronic devices, and waive the waiting period.
Thank you again, sir. This is a change to existing policy on electronic devices. This is based on the LDOE requirement that school boards update their policies regarding student use of telecommunications devices based on revisions of DESI Bulletin 741. This newly revised policy must be, again, submitted to LDOE. Okay, in the policy, on paragraph 2, it adds the statement, use of or operation of an electronic telecommunications device shall mean the device is either visible, it is turned on, or is in a mode capable of receiving or transmitting signals. In paragraph 3, it includes the prohibition, possession of, in quotes, wearable technology capable of sending or receiving text messages and other similar notifications. And it defines when the instructional day, it begins or shall begin at the time that the students arrive on campus prior to the take-in bell and conclude upon the dismissal bell at the end of the day. The next paragraph includes among the list of telecommunication devices, wearable technology such as a smartwatch. There is a statement of of extending the policy to cover any school-sponsored event, including athletic competitions, field trips, which take place during the instructional day, is added. The next paragraph gives instructions to parents or guardians as to how to contact their child during the instructional day. And then finally, there is a statement at the end, students shall not utilize school-issued devices to access personal messaging features and social media accounts not used for educational purposes.
Can we discuss the highlighted section with the,
Yes, sir.
just kind of want to understand what that looks like during a off-campus field trip or competition?
I can speak to that, Mr. Sanford. As you know, with the provisions that went into place legally this summer, this is an addendum to that law. We saw a drastic decrease in phone-related instances across the parish. Now, the first couple of months, we had a couple of posts that one of them drew the attention of the FBI, and that was handled, and another one drew the attention of local authorities, and that was handled. And you know the message that I sent out and the severity that was put on that and the importance our admin was given on taking care of cell phones. So at the Dress Code and Discipline Committee, Mr. Johnson asked for a end to cell phones because it's just a repeated ISS. And during that time, I was asked, what does the cell phone issues look like now? And they don't exist. I think Mr. Green followed up with me a couple of days later because he had the same question because we were talking the Yonder pouches. I will tell you, a coach, a chaperone, an admin, they're not going to go follow a kid to an athletic event because if they're participating, they don't have it with them anyhow. If they're not, they're in the stands along with every other kid that's got some kind of device. That is not a mountain or a hill that we will ever die on. One of the things that I start every admin meeting is the 3 C's, compassion, communication, and common sense. That's a common sense issue. If we have something like that comes up, then we have the discussion of this, yes, this is what it says, but we know better. And I think we're all in that mentality right now.
Thank you.
So technically, if it's a student who's a spectator at a high school football game, still.
Yeah, I mean, technically, but it's, why?
Yeah.
I mean, you pay to get in as a student. I don't even know if that's legal. We could probably
Yeah.
fight
But
that.
isn't the language, which takes place during an instructional day?
Right.
So
But
that, to me, that's the,
The catch.
it's not necessarily like a Friday night football game.
Well, if you read that word, I guess if it's instructional day, a school-sponsored event, including athletic competitions, there's not very many of those that happen during the school day.
Right. No, I don't disagree with that.
But if we're on a field trip, I mean, we haven't had issues with this with smart launches before this was up, and we're not going to have them.
Yeah, I wonder there could be some wording to the fact that participants involved in that activity, right?
Well, definitely it would be the
Just like-
understanding of our parish that this is only during the school day. If there happens to be an event during the school day, hey, you can't have that, we're in the school day. But 3:30 or 3:17 and onward,
Yeah. Okay.
All right, we good?
Yes.
All right. Can I get a motion to accept? Ryan makes a motion, get a second.
I'll second.
Green, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. That concludes our policy committee meeting. And now we will go into the calendar committee. I don't know. You want me to take the lead or you want to try to do 4 days?
Maybe so.
It's got us
Depends on
combined
my
together
mind.
here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We almost have to walk through this calendar by calendar.
Yeah, so we'll do 4 days
And then
and
do
we'll
one
move
motion.
on to the, yeah. I think he's gonna give us, everybody's gonna get a copy of those.
You need to go.
Yeah, we'll all get a copy. I'm going to call the meeting of the calendar committee, who is myself, David Shirley, and all board members. This is to consider approval of the calendars for Boulevard Parish School 25 and 26. I think, Mr. Cord, did you have copies for everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
I think it's amazing if you look at these, you could almost lay them on top of each other and how they work, so.
You advocating for one calendar?
I am not. I am just telling you to look how close these are.
Somebody bring it.
I was actually proactive.
Which one is this?
This afternoon, labeled them A, B, and C, so we would have a way to identify them.
Perfect.
Because it's confusing on my desk.
Well, I still need a hybrid
So I can get
A and a
this.
hybrid C, if there is.
All right.
And I did it.
You got A?
I don't think there's a hybrid C, is there?
I ran 12 copies.
I think there might be.
There is,
There's A, B, and
no.
X.
Yeah,
A, B, and X.
That's what I
I
thought.
think Ashley kept some.
I've got it.
Is there a hybrid C?
I don't have a.
Okay. I thought I heard there was one, and I was like,
Hang on, it's too much. Hybrid X, hybrid B.
Scott.
All right, there's an X hybrid, that's
Remind
copied
me,
today.
what was your people, the last thing you told me?
I printed this one off.
They wanted to
Yeah,
move
we got
something to
bunches
Fair
of
Day.
Okay, I think we're good.
One of those,
Mr. Ford probably have to speak to it.
okay, but he knows. So let's ask Cord to address the changes.
My copy's been written all over.
Okay.
All right, guys.
I'm not sure. So, Mr. Charlie, which one do you need?
Hybrid 8, if you,
Is it just a straight hybrid, Mr. Engineer?
the one that you sent to us?
Yes, that's hybrid A.
Okay, so we got that.
And then there's
And then there's E.
hybrid B and C, and then there's Ford A, A, B, and C, but,
We don't have hybrid C.
okay.
Where's that X?
That's the Ford
No,
A.
the X is the extended day with the hybrid. So there's the A, B, and C. Yes, there's an A, B, and C.
So we should-
and-
there is.
We should set total.
There is a hybrid.
Let me get another drink. It's on different kind.
Hybrid C and A.
I think everybody's good on 4 days, correct?
There was only three.
Yes.
Three 4-day
A, B, and
calendars, and
C.
there should be 4 hybrid calendars.
Okay, I'm good. You should have a hybrid, you should have an A, B, and C, and an X.
Give me the X. We don't have hybrid
All right.
C, right?
You should
I don't
have
think
a
anybody got a
hybrid,
hybrid C. I don't
A,
think
B,
anybody
and
did.
C, and an X.
I can tell. I've seen a video about it.
Okay. You need 2 A and C hybrids.
Here's it. If you look. Everybody else good?
May I please get a hybrid?
We'll have A and
All right, guys, if you'll turn your paper over, this is where the other one's hiding.
You see this, you're looking at this, that's hybrid A on the front.
Yeah.
Okay, that's hybrid A on the front.
Yeah, just look at the calendar side, don't, the other side just.
Okay.
I should have used a stapler, I see that already.
Yes. Yes, collate.
Okay.
May I please get a hybrid C?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
When we say we are.
Egg stands for extended in my brain is what that.
Hybrid A.
Yes. So the hybrid A calendar is sort of the one we came up with at the office. Mr. Holly asked me to try to do away with 3-day weeks. So you'll see in January of '26, when we come back from the Christmas break, we have a PD day on that Monday. And then we've suggested that we could possibly go 4 days that week, go on a Friday. Ms. Neely called me Friday, and we talked about moving the conference day, which is usually traditionally on the 16th. So
You're
maybe
talking about hybrid, right? You're
Yes,
talking
I'm
about
talking
hybrid.
about
I was
hybrid.
speaking towards the 4-day when I,
Thank you so much.
okay, just to clarify. And what,
So we, and then Martin Luther King Day is January 19th, so that would be another Monday off. So we put the Friday there, and then we back the conference day up to February the 6th. And that, our pupil progression plan says that if a student is going to drop a class, they must do it before the 4th 9 weeks. So we need to identify that. And the other part of the pupil progression plan says if a student fails 3 of the 5 grades, there's 4 9 weeks and a final exam. If they fail 3 of those in a row, then they fail for the year. So we felt like we really needed a conference day to say, hey, this is your last wake-up call. You can't fail this. If you fail the first 2 9 weeks, you can't fail the third 9 weeks, or you're done for the year.
and that was a very good insight from the teachers, because they said they were kind of on top of each other, so when they moved one of them, it just opened up a lot of doors for, like I say, these kids who are behind or those kind of things. So that's why we have you guys.
So the 2 baby blue days are, if you'll slide up, Mr. Cole, October 24th is the end of the first 9 weeks when we would give out report cards. And that would be a virtual day. And then the second conference in February would be a virtual day. And we've been having, last year we had 4 virtual days. Teachers, a lot of them said we felt like those were too many. We felt like it was too many. Get back in there face to face. And so we would couple those with, we would use them as virtual. We could send out an assignment, still count them as instructional days, but we could also get parents in there to do a conference. You'll slide over to August.
I'm trying to
To your
find
left.
the difference that you're,
Yeah,
why
we
you're
tried to
liking
start
one versus the other.
that first full week of August. That would give us 3 in-service days, and then we would work students in, they would go Thursday, Friday. Then we would hit September, Labor Day. The purple day there at the bottom is the parade day. We did a half a day there this year. Parade starts at 5, so to get everybody on the buses and get them out before the parade hits, that seemed to work pretty good. I did have a question today if we could make that a virtual day possibly. That we could be going back and adding a day. So our virtual day. And then the Friday is a traditional fair day. We usually take that off. Then we would do the conference day October 24th. Halloween day would be the first Friday off for hybrids. Last year we did election day as a conference day, and we said it was a virtual day only. Teachers didn't have to go. They got to do their ethics training, sexual harassment, all those multitude of hours that the state mandates. So it felt like maybe put a weather day there and make that an option. I had the question of, will we need a weather day by then? Well, we would be out of hurricane season. Hopefully we don't have a hurricane season, but if we had a bad thunderstorm, let's say, and we needed a day, we could still use that day, but if not, that's a teacher work day, those golden days, and teachers could do their ethics training and that from a remote location and get that done. Then that takes us through December. We've already talked about January, February. If you'll go to April, I put those hot pink days in there. April 17th, I know it's a Friday, but paper-based third grade testing, Mr. Cole, they only allow 3 days for it. If we just go Wednesday, Thursday, we only have 2 days for testing. So we really need that 17th, and that's what we're using this year for the weather day on April 4th, is to get a third day in there to get testing out of the way. And that's a pretty tight schedule.
So there's no way, that's the days that we get to choose from, 15, 16, 17, there's no other?
For paper-based. See,
And
2
then-
years ago, there was a big push to go computer, and we did that.
Think that, and then next
And
week.
all of our
is-
elementary principals were like, please go back to paper, they're not ready. And so the state, to get rid of it, gave you one window,
Yeah.
because it's one collection of, because they have to mail it out and collect it and send it in at the same time.
So what about the regular state testing? That's happening in April as well,
The
correct?
computer base for 4th grade through 8th grade, and then our EOCs, they're pretty much open for about 2 months.
Yes, April 2nd to May 14th is the,
Are we,
oh, sorry.
are we trying to encourage a later testing date so that we can get as much teaching in before that, or do we have a stance?
Typically, we allow the schools to develop their own type of testing calendar because each school is so different. The higher your SPED population, that means the earlier you're going to have to start testing because you go into small groups and one teacher has 3 kids. If everybody taught like they used to when we were in school, everybody took a test at the same time, yeah, we
So
pushed it back.
If a teacher has concerns, she just needs to talk with the administration and
Yes, sir.
see what's best for them.
Yes, sir. Because what happens, I can speak for one school, they will start the second week. No one likes to start the first week because of technology issues to work the kinks out. But they'll start the second week of window, and they'll be all the way into May 14th, the week before last week of school, just because they have so many pullouts.
So the option here is, I worked it out where we would have a week off at Mardi Gras. Some of the teacher comments were they didn't really want the week off at Mardi Gras, so that takes us to hybrid B. And they didn't want to go on the Fridays in January. So you can see this calendar, we would take off. There was a suggestion or two to just take off the 17th, but that means we would go Monday, be off Tuesday, go Wednesday, Thursday, which is a really fragmented week. So I would take off Monday, Tuesday. We would get President's Day on Monday, Mardi Gras on Tuesday. Everybody be back in 18th, 19th. January, you would go, you wouldn't go those Fridays, and that's the trade out on that one. Slide over back to y'all, just where I can see it. Yeah, we just worked it out. Yeah, we moved somebody didn't want to go the virtual day in November, so I put it at the end of the year. It would help us if we had a weather day in November so the teachers could get their ethics and all their mandated trainings done and completed before, because ethics is due December 31st, midnight. And we try to make the rest of our trainings by then. And that is part of our audit. We get audited on those things to make sure that every employee has completed that.
So you're saying the 7th would be a weather day / professional development day, or?
Teachers, it's one of their work days. And if we don't need it for a weather day, they could work from a remote location and finish their training. If they needed it in the school to have access to their computer, we could make that.
Some of y'all did some of the trainings that they have to go through, but that's about a third of what teachers are required by the state to finish. So we give them a day of work without necessarily work.
C, I had, in some of the conversation with some of y'all, that we were having a sort of a spring break in February and then an Easter break. We were having a break about every 6 weeks. So I put, Red River Parish does a fall break, first week of October or somewhere there close. So we backed up. The only way to do that is to go basically August 1 through the last day of May. We would take Memorial Day off and then have to come back and do a week of school to gain that week there. I don't think that's a real popular option, but somebody requested it, and I created it, so.
I've heard that they use the Mardi Gras break as a refresh, you know, they kind of use that as
A reset.
fall break or whatever you want to call it.
Right, so.
I think the only way that the C would work is if we were to take out the Mardi Gras break and just put it in the fall. Like, I mean,
So, you know,
I don't know,
so-
I just don't feel like that starting the first day of August and then going to the last day of May is gonna be popular at all.
So that's easy, we can shred that one. Then the fourth, that's the extended day calendar, if we add 15 minutes, that takes us to dismissing at 3:32, and that's, Ms. Smith, that's the supper program. Do y'all have any questions about that?
I do have a comment though. So
Okay.
2 years ago, or last year, we said we were gonna wait 2 years before we did anything to this hybrid thing, other than tweak it a little bit. So I don't feel like, and the reason we came up with the hybrid was for what reason? We don't want to extend the day. And I just feel like it's gonna be very contradictory for us to say, let's go ahead and extend the day. That's just the way I feel about that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. One positive thing we saw today, Ms. Crane ran the numbers on teacher absentee and staff absenteeism. It's down 17.5% from 1st of August till today. So that is a huge increase of attendance at school, which is financially a good thing. Educationally, it's a great thing.
That's just all.
So it's very positive.
How's that compared to 4 days?
That's all employees.
That's parish-wide.
Okay, so we don't have a,
No, sir, I didn't pull that one exactly, because
just check.
just to let you know from my side and Mr. Ensminger's, we really didn't know where the board was, what they were wanting tonight, because there wasn't a whole lot of communication. I mean, not negatively, so I just pulled generic numbers for you. I can go ahead and speak to discipline hearings. I didn't do in-school discipline, because that really, you need to talk to principals for that. Like DES has a new program in place this year, and they cut their discipline by 90-something%. So, which is fantastic, but hearing-wise, we're down 11% in the amount of hearings that we have here at this point last year. And school attendance-wise, we're up a percentage point. I think Mr. Jocelyn brought that up at the last admin meeting. We normally have pretty good attendance, so we're 97-98%. And that's, like I said, that's all schools.
So, but in essence, and maybe I'm looking at it wrong, any decreases can be attributed to leaving 5-day going to hybrid, because that's.
Definitely I would say with the employee attendance, and that's all employees. Which to us, whenever employees don't miss work, we save money. And so that's an incentive.
So, and instruction goes up.
After this year, so, I should say after next year. We'll be comparing the best we can, 5-day, hybrid, and 4-day.
Will be hybrid and 4-day, and then therefore specific data will be pulled, because we'll know we're coming to the end of that 2-year process. Or I could, give me a couple days and get specific data and send out to you now. But the one thing that we won't have that we wanted to look at is going to be accurate testing data. Because remember last summer, or this previous summer, I said they're changing the way they evaluate us. And Ms. Higginbottom can correct me, but since the time they've rolled it out, they've changed the model at least 6 times. And they keep giving us this simulated SPS scores, where if I were to tell you the latest one, we would have 2 B schools and the rest Cs and Ds in Beauregard Parish. And just look surrounding, Allen suffers about like we would, Vernon will lose some of their A's, and Jeff Davis would be exactly as we are. So we're not going to be able to look at test scores and say, this is working. Now, I will say this from my seat, and I try to be very neutral in this position, but one of the most stressful decisions that I have to make is whenever there's potentially severe weather. And I know that if I have to call a day, that I only have so much time to make that decision and go with the best. When there are extra days for me to have that freedom to know we don't have to make it up, because we went this Friday as a scheduled Friday, and the lowest percentage of absenteeism student-wise was 12%. The highest was 23%. But what was worse than the student attendance was the employee attendance on Fridays. Several places had employees out without subs. Now, some of that was planned, some of that was we've been viruses and flus and things going around. So I would like, whenever we look at the calendar, if there is an opportunity to have more than one weather day. Another thing that I have to face regularly is we're going to go to playoff games. And last year, everybody swore to me they were going to go to Hammond and watch basketball. And I did, and they didn't. And so I said, this year, if we go to Hammond, you're going to have to take a day. And but I'll tell you where they will go. Everybody will go to Sulphur to watch softball and baseball. So right now, going into the spring, I know that we already have one makeup day, and I'm probably going to have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 teams end up in Sulphur. People are going to want to go. I'm going to want to give them the day, or at least a half day. We're going to make it up. So that puts a lot of pressure on Mr. Enspinger and I, and having the freedom to say, you know what, East Beauregard, you hadn't been to the semis in 5 years. We're going to give you the day off. We can make it work either way. I just wanted you to share a little bit.
So that's some of the downside of basically meeting minimal minutes, is that we have no wiggle room whatsoever. for
And the
those
question,
things that just pop up.
and the question I get asked was totally a legitimate question, because as a teacher, I used to get aggravated at this. After Rita and Katrina, our school day expanded. It went from 255 to 315 or whatever. We didn't get any more money, but we were required to go to bank days. Nothing ever happened if you never used those bank days. Those are just days lost. So I'm not asking for us to build 5 or 10 in. I'm just saying more than one would be helpful, because I could call it a virtual day, but I get roasted over calling virtual days because, and I'm going to put this back on teachers, and I don't ever put a whole lot on them. Half of them do what they're supposed to do, and the other half don't. So in a household with multiple kids, I've got 1 or 2 doing full-fledged assignments. Teachers, I've got some teachers screencastify, they've got their video on there, and then I've got crossword puzzles going home and seeking finds. And so when we went through the weather, I had several Facebook commentaries on the virtues of virtual. And so that doesn't work for us. It just does not work. So that's my only ask. It's just whatever day gives us just a little bit more window to have those days.
You want to bring up the 4-day calendar?
Do we need to vote on one at a time?
I'd like to stay on the high.
Wow, it's all on our mind, like
All
we all know where we're at.
Are we tossing hybrid X?
C is out. Is C out?
Yeah.
C's the one we shredded?
C is out.
Yes, he's gone.
C is out.
So the difference between A and B is in January, you had to go some Fridays on A and you get a full week of Mardi Gras, or on B, you trade 2 days of Mardi Gras and you don't go those Fridays.
What is y'all's feedback? Because I don't know y'all's people that well on those 2 issues.
Well, from a practicality standpoint, on the hybrid B, if we were to move to that, I feel that we'd have to do like we did this year and go on Friday. To have a fragmented week of only 2 days, that's just a waste. You know, I've talked to multiple teachers, like, there's just not a whole lot of it. Like, a 3-day week's hard enough in terms of instruction. 2-day week is even harder. So, like,
February the 16th.
so that's, to me, the first thing that I see is that if we were to lean toward the B, we'd almost need to grab that Friday just like we did this year. I mean, you know, I like the Mardi Gras personally on A, but you know, that's just, if we were to lean to C, that, B, excuse me, that's an immediate thing that I think that we would have to grab is that Friday.
The other thing for me is January, you've got 2 weeks of only 3 days. And that was one complaint I heard was weeks of only 3 days.
Yeah, but we'd have to go on Friday, right? And so that's the,
Right.
whereas the A option, there are no 3 days,
There are no 3 days.
but you'd be going on 2 Fridays. So it's like,
Like B. I mean,
Well, let's kind of go back and look at one thing here, because we have the first difference is in November 7th. That's the weather day / teacher remote work day.
We could move that.
Can we say those would be on both calendars?
with the
Yes,
7th.
we can make that happen.
Okay.
That's just a.
So we could move, so that there's.
Because I think it needs,
Hybrid A would be yellow.
that needs to happen whichever calendar we use. Okay.
so, David, so you're saying on November 7th on both calendars, that would be a weather
Weather
day,
day.
Remote work
Make
day.
a day.
Mandated training day.
mandated training, okay. And then if to that point, just walk me through, if to that point we didn't need weather, the kids would do, that would then be a virtual.
It would not be a virtual day.
It would just be a day off, but the
A
teachers would have to do
Friday
the mandated training on that day, is what you're saying.
They could do it remotely.
Yeah, right.
So they what you were saying, they typically watch ethics trainings or other trainings that is mandatory. So that would give them a specific day for that.
Okay.
Okay. And so address the
November
3-day
7th.
issue.
Nobody goes to school, but teachers would do their mandated virtual training.
Pending we have no weather outages.
Yeah.
No weather, on the 7th, on hybrid B.
I personally think, go back to those 3 days on B, in the conversations that I had, November and December were total 10 days. Those are prime educational times. January's already fragmented with us coming back to work and starting a new 9 weeks. So to have a little bit, a 3-day week in January, or if, let's say we had December weather days and having the possibility of adding a January work day in, the weather day in. So I mean, I like that flexibility in January because there's a lot, I'm speaking for a school teacher, starting that new semester off, it's a highlight of the 6th season. So if you have some shorter weeks then, you could be okay.
So
As
you're,
opposed
that's
to,
B.
Fine with the 2
I'm
weeks
good.
if they're only 3 days.
I'm good with January instead of it being December and November. That's where we got into a bind because we went Election Day, then we went Veterans Day.
We're talking B.
You're talking B?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, because,
Okay.
yeah, from my understanding, that's the ones that our teachers are preferring.
B.
Is B.
And if you,
What if we started 2 days earlier, still got, did B, but then had Mardi Gras for the week off? Say that
What?
again. What if we started 2 days earlier the school year, and then had a whole week of Mardi Gras?
I'm just afraid that week of Mardi Gras, 2 days, you're not gonna have many kids.
That's what I was worried about.
Well, again, we did, Mr. Hall, I mean, you could.
We do, we use it
just did
as
this
extra.
last week,
That's what I was
where
telling
we
him,
went
that's kind of
Wednesday,
use it
Thursday,
as a
Friday.
Okay, so Wednesday's attendance was great. Thursday's attendance was great. Fridays was where, it was the Friday. It wasn't,
Friday, right.
look, and I will tell you, as of 12 years in Calcasieu, we never got Ash Wednesday off. It was Monday, Tuesday, and go to school.
yeah.
And there's, even though our stronger Catholic
I know we
communities
didn't
that
get Monday off.
Phil Platt in that area, you very rarely see a week off. I'm just talking Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
Now, will say this, Mr. Bowman. One of the things that I asked about parents was, anytime we start earlier, they feel like they're eating into the summer. Because it feels like when that May gets here, June and July are gone. And then when we had the separation between 5-day and 4-day that first year.
Well, and you
people
got
still
both
remember
calendars
that.
starting at the same time.
And that helps us, in lieu of having one calendar starting at the same time.
It would
is the
be
next
better
best
to
thing.
add 2 Fridays if you want to have the whole week off after, in October. Instead of having 10 straight Friday weeks, you would have 12.
One of our neighboring parishes is about to adopt a 4-day schedule too. So I'd like to see how their year
Yeah.
goes.
Could be
Correct me
copying our
if I'm wrong,
calendar.
but I'm flipping
It's
back and forth.
I misspoke 4-day. They're doing I don't know if it's 4-day or a hybrid yet. I just know that they are changing.
Which parish is it?
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but in looking at these and trying to look ahead, we're trying to keep all our PD days the same across the parish, correct?
Yes, and
So with that, not sorry to interrupt, but with that being said, whatever we decide or look at on the hybrid, we're gonna have to mirror
This is our only
over on
difference. We only
the
have to pay
straight 4-day
3 months
or
difference
vice versa, correct?
other than our Mardi
I think it needs to be considered. Our parish has
Consistency.
Our parish has a very strong cohort of teachers who are very loyal to Beauregard. Trainings have to be of merit and of worth. We tried to improve upon that this year. We made some headway, but what they appreciated the most was that first day that we got back to school, and we all met at DeRitter High School. The amount of positivity and positive reports from that day of all being together and having training and having General Assembly, that was highly requested coming back at January to meet together again, but because we didn't have the same PD day on that day, we were unable to make that happen.
I guess, end of the day, whatever we look at here, we need to look at here on PD day wise,
This is teacher
correct?
PD though.
Yeah. Well, I think most of, I'm looking just quick glances, it looks like,
I tried to do that,
yeah, I'm not
but,
missing.
I mean, it could be changed.
What are you trying to do?
Just starting PD days being the same start.
Okay. Okay.
There's a couple,
I think that-
Ron, there's a, like,
Yeah, there's not.
there's one in February. one at the end of-
having 12
One in January.
that a no-go?
It looks like they are.
Yes.
Christmas Eve.
Yep.
Okay. Well, here's another
Okay.
detail to look at, is that those 3 days that we say we don't like in January, that mirrors the 4-day. And I'm not saying we're transitioning to 4-day, but if we're trying to get these calendars to look as close as possible, if we're gonna try and merge at some point, we could keep those 3 days, because that's what everybody would be used to at that, and preserve our Fridays off.
I think so, yeah. Makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
Okay.
So the next thing that is different between A and B is the February 6th on the B calendar. And you're saying that's important because that's the last date that we can look at dropping classes.
It would probably be better to have it February 6th, because that would be progress report time.
Okay. So can we add that to the B calendar
Yes.
as well? So we got the November 7th and February 6th.
This is a weather day / what now on that day?
That's a conference, a
Virtual
parent-teacher
conference.
conference day, but it's
So that's
also
also
virtual,
gonna
so we
mimic
can count it as
this.
instruction.
It's
But
gonna
to
be
move
the
it from
same.
February 16th to January 6th, and that will put it on the our progress report time of the third 9 weeks.
February 6th.
January 16th will become Brown then?
Yes, January 16th will become a brown day, and
Oh,
February
okay.
6th will
Okay.
become the blue
Okay,
day.
all right, so off on the 16th of January,
You
Friday
meant
the
February.
16th.
That gives us a little bit more time to know what they're
January 9th.
doing as we race toward
Make the student, all we're doing.
EOC.
February
Students come
6th
back
on
here,
hybrid being removed.
and then we.
Yeah, February the 6th, would be blue?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
On
it'd be
B.
blue. Yeah, okay.
So we trade that day for February 16th.
And now what does February 16th turn into?
Just brown day, it'd be a day.
January 16th, Ms. Neely.
Oh, January 16th turns into brown. Got you.
Instead of doing that virtual.
Following your
Okay.
recommendation, which was a good recommendation.
Yeah, I'd like to say, I liked it when I heard it, 'cause it made lots of sense, so. And it would make sense for their hybrid too.
January.
Move that over.
Okay. Now, these changes, do we have to make amendments to these, to the original presented? No?
That's just stuff I made, so it's not
Okay.
from the standing committee, just is the committee.
Okay.
Make it by 16?
Yeah.
It's no longer teachers, we need teachers to come back. And not our students, because then we're still in the 3-day week.
So Christie, he's making the changes
Of the boards, I can see. Gotcha.
That's the only one having.
I've kind of written it in. If I had a highlighter.
Go ahead and advocate for it.
And then I got blue here, and then this one up here is gold for the 7th.
Yes.
Right,
That's the 3 changes we made.
on hybrid B.
Do you guys have anything else you'd like to say?
I'm listening for Ryan.
The January, we're gonna move, and my mind's all over, so we're gonna take, in the hybrid B, take the 5th, no, take the 16th and move it over to February 6th.
Yes.
So look, Brian, he did
And that
it
puts
up
us
here.
at the end of, that puts us at the progress report of the third 9 weeks. And if we can get parents there, we can hand them the progress reports that day and talk about report cards. So we sort of
Practically makes
do
more
2
sense.
things. at
Yeah.
once.
Is there anything we could do, and I get it, but we're on that 3-day week, that PD day on the 5th, and that's gonna be, and the reason I was leading up to keeping everything consistent, because it would affect all calendars. Is there anything, just looking outside, we could do with the 5th? And I'm sorry, I'm still, and teachers correct me, do PD days toward further along, I don't see, based on what I understand, the attendance to our conferences, why couldn't we roll conference day and PD day into one?
Depends on
I
if we
think-
hire outside PD. So,
You do that for the
If we-
5th?
Yeah.
Yes.
Didn't you say that y'all liked the coming in on the 5th before? Didn't you say that earlier, that that was
If-
the day to come in and?
whatever separation between 4-day and 5-day or hybrid was this year, hybrid got back to school earlier for their PD, and then I think 4-day was in February, I don't remember, but we wanted to do a group come back together like we did at the beginning of the year, but it couldn't happen. I was gonna have to have half for one group and half for the other. Now, having conference and PD on the same day, if you have outside PD, which we try to bring in specialists to do it, it may pull away teachers from a school for the PD in which a parent needs to see them. So if you're an Algebra 1 teacher, or so think of something EOC or how, or 5th grade teacher with 5 failing students, you got to be there for your teachers. So, but again, that's just one of those, we can't have everything in one, it's just difficult.
And I'm
Yes,
just trying
sir.
to think outside the box, and
Yeah, because closer is always better.
November the 7th is a weather day or?
It's a weather day possibility, and then a teacher work remotely to do mandatory.
Could we do that February the 6th as well?
Make it a weather day?
What we're calling weather days is they don't have to come, teachers don't have to come if we don't have a weather day to make up. But this day would be compulsory attendance due to the fact of having conferences.
So they have to
teachers
come.
and students would have to
Yeah,
come on
that's,
the weather days.
because that's when their last opportunity to drop the
Oh,
We're
class.
approaching the drop date and
Yeah, gives them time to.
making sure everybody's gonna pass.
and the trainings have to be done by December to the State Department. So we do them in November, we collect them in December. Before we go home for Christmas, they have to be submitted.
Okay.
Mr. E, just to clarify, we're discussing this in May, 1st, 8th, and 15th. Those are built-in weather days as well.
We'd need to we'd probably scratch one of those off since we're gonna use November 7th as a weather day.
Okay. But if by some miracle we don't need them, we would just be off on those days, correct?
Correct.
Yes, and I would prefer to leave all 3 of them there.
Yeah, okay.
Just say, South Boulevard, baseballs and the state finals, they want to take a day, then South Boulevard would be in attendance on that day.
That's a pretty good assumption.
I'm not jinxing anybody, I just, how about?
Okay. Do that, it's gonna mess up our day count for pay.
Okay, well, never mind. We're not going to do that because I'm not going to do that to the ladies. We'll just remove a day.
Removing one of those days.
Okay, so we're just gonna take one vote, and we're gonna have it include what I think is calendar hybrid B, and then we're gonna go through the 4-day now, and we'll put them together and have one vote.
Well,
Do we
you
vote
could
on them separately?
Vote on them separately
Separate.
because they're separate
They're
calendars.
separate.
So in the past, do the hybrid calendar.
All right, so that'd be you.
Okay.
So we're voting on A and B, right?
We're voting on.
Well, I mean, I know we have to.
Someone up
we're
there
voting
put
on forward.
a motion up.
A
to
motion
Yeah,
adopt
somebody's got to put a
to-
motion.
Hybrid B with changes as made.
Okay. Is that what-
Okay,
And then
Well, I think there's still some discussion though.
Mr. Bowman asked, who's voting? It does say all board members. That's for the committee.
Yeah.
so I just wanted to ask, so we're still good on the PD on January 5, right? So we just had some recommendations there, but we didn't make any action, correct?
Right.
Okay, and then Mardi Gras, are we good with having 2 days off? I mean, only going 2 days that week. Everybody's okay with that? I just want to be clear. Just want to be,
Well,
want to be clear.
Mr. Green, I'd like to hear, Mr. Holly, if you would explain to me why that benefits.
While having the 2 days.
Right.
Okay, so traditionally, in the past, we have run the gambit of not getting off Mardi Gras, having 2 days off, having a week off. So I was curious to see, as this was, 4-day had a whole week off, and the hybrid did not.
And there was confusion over that.
And we could,
Yeah, we had to remind our people to come to work.
yeah, I mean,
Parents were lost.
I still say we could add 2 Fridays in the October and have that week off. You'd just be going 12 Fridays instead of 10.
I will say
That's
this,
the
this
only-
is where I was going. Wednesday and Thursday's attendance was up, Fridays was off, highest at 20%. Some schools like DES had 96%, which is great.
96% of the kids, they
Went
basically
to
Kids
school.
Right.
The biggest attendance was in adults, but there were multiple factors there. So in conversations with community members, and you have a lot of them during basketball season, they ask about holidays, like a lot of people take trips during Mardi Gras. And I asked the questions like, would you rather have the full week off? And they're like, Mr. Holly, whether you gave it to us or not, we were gonna leave town anyhow. And that's your snow skiers, your people who go to Disney World and Universal during that time, they're gonna be gone regardless. So the question was, or the statement was, if we don't have to go 2 more Fridays earlier, or 2 more Fridays somewhere else, then we're okay with the 2 days off. We can go to parades, we can go to our balls, we can go to church Wednesday morning, and we'll go check in whenever we're done there.
I mean, that's fine. I just,
Yeah,
like
I know,
said,
I
just
mean,
wanted to
Make
make
it-
sure
put it
it
out
was
there.
clear.
That's fresh on my
discussed it.
brain because I was watching that last week. I was
Yeah.
very, very curious, especially with the 2 calendars having difference. And
And I guess what I would ask Mr. Green is, are you okay with that? I mean, is there anybody else on the floor here that wants to look further into that?
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, really, so I'm a parent with 3 kids in elementary right now, right? And so, if we wanted to take a vacation, I think, and our kids typically have good attendance throughout the year, I think that we would, weigh
have
the,
those.
like.
Yeah, and I wouldn't advocate.
Just weigh that.
It was just-
Right, right.
It was an interesting point to me because whenever our holidays don't align, there's usually some kind of conversation that takes place that I get made aware of, and there wasn't, outside of just what I shared.
So, I'll accept the motion.
Well, I had a quick question. I'm sorry. Which day in May was it that you guys said that was going
Probably
to
the
be?
15th, cross it off.
Okay. So I didn't ever hear a
Cross it
definitive.
off as far as what?
The weather day, because we
That way, if
added.
we have to use it for testing, we can still use the 1st or the 8th for that.
So that's going to change to
When we
which
put it on
color?
February 7th, we made it.
Brown.
Off, just off.
Brown, just all.
No, we moved. Okay, what did we do? We moved the 16th of January it became brown.
Turns to brown.
Right.
February 6th became blue,
I don't understand.
May
November
turns brown.
7th became gold.
gold.
Nobody's doing it.
And then why did we take a weather day off, Mr. Ensminger, in May?
Because if it's brown, we can't use it. If it's yellow or weather, we can use it however we
On
want
May
to.
15th, it'll become brown.
So if you cross the 15th and turn it to brown,
To brown. And that still gives you enough weather days to play with.
They give you
Okay.
3
But,
weather days.
and then theoretically, if we do have a need, we'll just call Friday, theoretically, right? I mean, that's, you know, we don't have, we may not have it necessarily built in, but if we have to, I mean, that's just what we have to do.
Yes, it's always better to have potentials up there because even with this last, moving it to April the 4th instead of the 11th, because on our calendar we had 3, people wanted to know why you're doing it on the 4th instead of what you said you were going to do it on. And so when I put that information, well, it's the five-day testing window for 3rd grade, gives them a full week. It's good to go, so.
Okay.
It's a little off. Color.
So we're going to make a motion.
We're gonna make a
Copy
motion.
format.
to
Can I
adopt.
make,
Yes.
to,
No.
so I'd like to make a motion that we accept hybrid B with the changes that were stated.
I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Got this.
You were making the motion, I was here.
thank you.
Oh, okay. So hybrid B passes.
Now we're not.
That's where you're voting.
You'll need to leave it alone.
Yes.
Okay.
This will go to Thursday's meeting.
If you'll go to your 4-day A and B, I have the entire week of Mardi Gras off for those because they go fewer days of a school year. If you don't want to take the entire week of Mardi Gras off, we could stop school 2 days earlier in May and go those 2 days. That would be one fix to that.
Okay, say that again.
Do you want 4 days off at Mardi Gras for the 4 days?
And you're saying the 26th and 27th take off of May?
That'd be just a dismissal day.
The last day for teachers would be the 20th, and students would be the 19th. No, yeah, that would be right.
Say that again,
You
please.
could end the year 2 days
Yeah.
shorter. Teachers would be, the last day would be the 20th, students' last day would be the 19th.
And I remember the argument from a teacher from Singer last year who said they would rather have that week off and go the 2 days. That was kind of like why to have it. So I don't know if that sentiment has changed, but I remember that conversation. And I didn't know if you got any feedback.
Yes, the sentiment has changed
Okay,
overall.
okay.
I can't speak specific to the individual.
Yes, sir.
But the request I got was for to have Mardi Gras off, so that's the reason I put it like that.
Just to have it off,
Yes.
the
So-
full week.
Yes.
All these.
So why could, I mean, we were,
So if
we
we
could,
could,
we could just mirror the calendars like we were talking about earlier. I mean, and this is you, yeah, I mean, I don't wanna, this is y'all's deal, but if y'all go to school on the 18th and 19th and are off on Friday, then the calendars would.
I don't know what
basically mirror.
Scott's teachers say, but, you know, all y'all schools supposed to have kind of like a little committee that sends y'all's information of what y'all have. Some of our feedback was saying that they liked that week off and they used it kind of as I said earlier, a little bit of a fall break. Again, don't know how Scott, don't know the feedback that he got. But again, you're talking about, I don't know how y'all's committees work with like six teachers.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What does that do from your standpoint? If the 4-day calendar takes the whole week off?
It'll be just like this year. I was curious. It was crickets from the 4-day communities. There was no complaints from our hybrid communities, and our attendance was good all the way till Friday. And it was, doubt it was for the holidays, it was just a Friday. And I can say that now I understand why in the 4-day communities, Fridays have always had bad attendance. Once families have adopted and became used to this, it has done a lot for them traveling. They can travel Friday, Saturday, and be at church on Sunday. So I expected the attendance to be down because they've built that doing things together on Fridays. And so to answer your question without deviating too far, Mr. Senator, that's fine. If that's what Maryville and senior communities want, we were good.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, my team was a little late getting to me. A little
You
upset.
gotta go knock on
Little
those
upset,
doors.
but,
Well, and here's one
I
thing to
say,
consider.
I say we go through the A, B, and C, and
You say
I
we
don't- I
go
don't-
through all, you wanna
I
go
don't-
through
I don't
every
really
calendar,
understand.
A,
Can
B, and
somebody
C?
explain the difference? Because I don't really,
No, I'm having a hard time seeing.
don't
A lot
really
of
see a
difference.
difference.
I had to look.
Y'all know if we had one calendar, we'd already been finished with
I
the
think I heard that
discussion.
before.
And we'd all be together.
What?
So
On
you made the
A,
adjustments.
Oh, I see
on
the C.
4-day, we had the day in January, we moved it from January to February. On B, it's in January. And then, had 2 testing days in April. And on the B one, we had only the 17th. And then, probably, since we adopted the 7th as a weather day on the hybrid calendar, I would like to request that we make the 7th weather day on the 4-day, if possible.
That is on November?
Yes,
It's
I
all-
know it's on A and it's not on B, so
Yeah, it's already, I was gonna say, A is already a weather day.
they were,
Yeah. And then we moved that PD day or virtual conference teacher PD day. You fixed that. Anybody got any discussions on A? Okay, no, I'm just, you got any discussions? Not for A? What you got?
It's gonna say the C puts you getting a whole week off for fair week and
yeah, that's that fall and spring break, so.
Yeah. We didn't have, there was no teacher input that was even close to that. Yeah,
Yeah, C's out.
yeah,
So we get rid of C, that helps.
yeah, get rid of C.
The one thing I will put on this is having February 6th together for conference does bring more unity to the calendar because that's February 6th on the hybrid.
Yeah.
Is that a change you would make here, or is that the difference between the calendars?
That's the difference
Hey.
between the two calendars.
Yeah, A is closer to what
Yeah,
we're
so,
talking about.
I mean, yeah, so the only difference is between, and this is not, we're not gonna talk about this tonight, but as far as unity, you're only looking at August, September, and October, basically difference in your calendars from the hybrid to the 4-day, which is a discussion for last year, but it's basically identical after you get through y'all's football season, except for your Mardi Gras week. And we've had, again, like I said, I don't know about Scott, but our full school likes it. Our teachers are kind of burnt out. They use that as a refreshed fall break. So I said fall break. Am I saying that wrong? Whatever time of year whatever that is, they is a comment.
Winter break.
Winter break, yes. Second winter break. Okay, Scott, I think.
A it is?
A it is, so, you're trying to make it.
I'll say A.
Yep.
Yeah,
You gonna make that motion, Scott? You want me to?
go ahead.
Okay, I'll make the motion that we accept the 4-day A calendar.
Ms. Weldon, second.
All in-
I will second it, but on discussion, what, did we make any actual changes on the A calendar? Okay, it's as presented then.
It's as presented.
As presented.
On this paper.
Yeah, we didn't, I don't think, we didn't change anything.
Okay, all right, just want to confirm. Yeah, I'll
we
second that.
we have a second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And we close out the calendar committee. All right, pass this down to,
All right, I will recount and resend it to you. Make sure you got all the numbers.
and 4-day A.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Hot gave the motion and Miss Cynthia second. Here, you can close it out for me.
Well, all this stuff, you probably just want what we passed, right?